The next video interview is by Ryan Korbels. He is sitting on a sofa in a police interview suite. Only Ryan is visible on the camera. A detective who is out of shot asks, "Tell me in as much detail as you can what happened last night." Ryan says, "I was laying in bed. I heard 3 bangs. They were loud, very, very loud. The next thing I heard, footsteps on the landing. It was Olivia running down the stairs screaming, 'Mum, I'm scared.' My mum, I wasn't aware at the time, but apparently my mum had gone to open the door to see what the bangs was. Olivia was about 4 or 5 steps up from the bottom. My mum was wrestling with the door. It was swinging open and shut. One shot went off. My mum and the fella who I believe was Joseph Nee then got the door shut. My mum and the fella who I believed was Joseph Nee then got the door shut. But because the latch was shut, it wasn't closed properly. I seen an arm come round the door, a black handgun. Another shot went off. It could have been another 2, I can't remember. My mum was in hysterics. Blood was coming out my mum's wrist. The lad, who I believed to be Joey Nee, was sat on the front doorstep. I couldn't move. I was helpless. I just stood there. I couldn't do a thing. He puts his head in his hands. I didn't know my sister had been hit at this point. He collapsed in the middle of the road. I told a neighbour, let him bleed. I don't care at this point. I went to see Olivia. That's when Mum passed her to me. I kept pressure on her chest. Then I gave her back to my mum and went outside to see where he was. A car come speeding down the road. A big black SUV. I didn't know what was going on, whether they'd come to finish him off or what. My mum was stood on the stairs with the baby. 2 lads got out the car, picked him up and got off. I was running around like a headless chicken. About 10 or 15 minutes later, it felt like forever, they turned up. The car shot off straight away. My mum got in another car and went to Aintree. The street got closed off and we were spoken to by police officers who attended. It keeps going over and over in my head. It was bang, bang, a pause, then another bang. The first 2 I thought, they're loud, but you don't hear gunshots every day. You immediately go to a firework or someone messing about. It was only when I heard the 3rd one, I realised what it was. The detective returns to Olivia going down the stairs. Ryan said she was saying, "Mum, I'm scared." He pauses tearfully and he puts his head in his hands. The detective asks after that, Ryan, what happened next. As I got to the top of the stairs, I saw my mum trying to shut the door. All I could see was the door swinging open and shut. "You described a lad being in the house. Who was that?" says the detective. "Joseph Nee," says Ryan. "You describe him as lying down on the floor," says the detective. "He's against the wall. Holding here," he signals towards his right midriff. "He just lay there," says Ryan. "Have you heard anything?" says the detective. "I heard Olivia crying, my sister crying. He was moaning and groaning. My mum was in hysterics. And then just gunshot noise. Liv screaming, she's scared. Ryan says of the final shot, no sooner as that shot went off, the arm disappeared. My mum grabbed hold of Olivia. He opened the door himself and he was sat on the step, says Ryan. My mum's 4 steps below me with Olivia in her arms. I was screaming for him to get out of the house. It all happened so fucking fast. To me, he took his opportunity. All you could see was an arm and a gun. Bang. It just slid back out the door. Ryan, this arm that's come around the door, describe that for me, says the detective. He was white, dark blue or black jacket, that's all. Other than that, I didn't get to see him. I didn't even know he ended up in the street. It could be a hoodie, it could be a jacket, it could be a long sleeve t-shirt. I just seen an arm. All I seen was an arm, a hand and a gun. It wasn't like a Glock, it was squared. It wasn't a big handgun. It was a pistol of some sort, but it wasn't big. He also describes it as being black. It wasn't a big pistol, it was a crack. It wasn't a bang. It was like a clap when it went off. I'm no gun expert. The hole in her chest was tiny. His arm sort of flailed a bit. A shot's gone off and the arm's gone, disappeared. I know there was definitely 2 there, could have been 3. All I remember was a shot going off when I was at the top of the stairs, the arm coming round and another shot going off. My mum grabbed the baby, brought her up the stairs. Ryan references Joseph Nee next. He says he was still on the step. He was just sitting there asking me if I'd rang an ambulance. I was telling him to fuck off, get out of my house.